What up and welcome to Nate's Escape. Today we are looking at the EOS R and I'm going to show you 3 settings that you need to change like right now because it'll absolutely change the way you use this camera. I know it has done for me, so we're just going to get straight into it. Now first off, when we get into the camera settings here, you want to go to that wrench icon and come to tab number 4 and you'll see something called display settings. Now we'll want to change this first before we can get to the next step. We go to display settings and we want to change this to manual. Now what this will do is, because when you video or when you're taking photos, if you accidentally swipe even near the viewfinder, it'll switch to the viewfinder, which can be quite annoying. If this doesn't annoy you, I'll skip this step. We still have 2 amazing settings that we're going to change later, but that really does my head in. And if you're shooting on a gimbal like I have done in the past, you'll find that when that gimbal gets close to that screen, it's going to constantly keep changing and it's really frustrating. So I switched this to manual and manual display screen. So this will actually switch what you want to look through. I just leave this on screen because we're going to show you how to quickly change this setting whenever you want. When we come across to here on the 5th menu, and then we come to tab number 4 and you'll see customize buttons. So when we click into this, you can see that when I come down to here, the multifunction button, which I never use, like I've used it a couple of times, we're going to change that to switch between viewfinder and screen. So now whenever I'm using the camera, I can just push this multifunction button right here on the front and it'll quickly switch between the viewfinder and the screen, and it saves a lot of hassle of accidentally triggering this all the time. Now you can also change it in video mode, but I never ever use the viewfinder when I'm shooting in video. If you do, you can use that, but I leave it as the multifunction button because it does come in handy for changing ISO quickly. But it doesn't matter because the next setting I'm going to show you completely changes that. So I never use the AF on button. I'm either using servo or I'm using the 1-point autofocus, and I've never seen a use for this really. I know a lot of people use it for back button autofocusing and things like that, but I change this to ISO and I turn that silly pad, that silly touchpad control thing off on the back, the touch bar. I hate that thing so much. I wish they put a joystick on it. Thank God they listened to us for the R5 and the R6 and they actually changed that because I can't stand that thing. So I change this AF on to ISO. So all you have to do is you hold that little AF on button, it's right near your thumb, and then you can flick the controls, you move that little dial and it'll switch your ISO quicker than any other way that I've seen. I mean, I hated holding down that touch pad and trying to, like, you know, scroll through on the touch bar, and then I turned that setting on because I kept accidentally touching it all the time. This solves that problem completely. Now number 3 is my favorite by far. This changes the AE lock button. I've really never used AE lock at all. I mainly shoot in manual anyway, so I've never really seen a point in using this. So we change that to maximize screen brightness. Now this comes in handy in so many situations, because if you're shooting out in the sun, which I do quite a lot, you just quickly tap this button and it'll automatically make the screen as bright as possible so you can clearly see the screen. I mean, this screen gets pretty bright, and then when you want to turn it off, you just push that button again. And I have this set for video and photo mode, and these are just 3 settings that have made this camera so much more versatile. And as a bonus, I'm going to throw in one more, and it is this here, AF, and then go to tab number 2 and you can see the focus guide is on. Select this and you can see when I actually open up the camera and change it to manual focus, you'll see that those three little arrows on top of the focus point. If you turn them left and right and eventually you get them into the green spot, that means what you're shooting is in focus. Now this comes in handy, and it is like a little mini game. If you want to practice getting good at manually focusing, I really suggest turning this on. And I love how if you're out of focus one way, the arrows show up down the bottom, and then if you're out of focus the other way, the arrows switch to being up the top. So it's so easy to manual focus on anything that you're shooting. So I hope this helped. Those settings have been absolutely amazing for me. I hope they help you in some way. So if this did help you in any way, make sure you click the thumbs up, make sure you subscribe, and I'm out.